wander, breathe, and teach us to listen beyond words. Today, we step into a world where animals speak and every sound carries meaning. In time where empathy shapes better humans, this session invites us to imagine life through the voices of the creatures we share our world with. Good morning, everyone. I, Bhavika Bajaj, proudly welcome you to the 7th edition of Orange City Literature Festival, organized by Raisoni Foundation. Today's session Today's session is titled If Animals Could Speak, Every Life, Clucks, Moos, Meows and Matters. The creative mind behind today's idea is Dr. Khushboo Shah. Dr. Khushboo Shah is an ophthalmologist who believes that every pair of eyes hold a story waiting to be told. Though trained to heal vision, she has an extraordinary gift for seeing emotion, moments, and magic hidden in everyday life. A passionate storyteller, she blends humor, tenderness, and gentle life lesson into her prose and poetry. Her writings have appeared in multiple anthologies, and she is admired for the way she turns little observation into meaningful reflections. Today's book marks her debut as a solo author, bringing her imagination, compassion, and love for animals together in a delightful narrative that aligns beautifully with our session theme, If Animals Could Speak. For the next 40 minutes, this session invites us to imagine life through the voices of the creature we shared our life with. The stage is yours, ma'am. Please make a huge round of applause, guys.
I would prefer to take this session from here and probably stand like this so that my head is seen over this. I think this should be fine. If the presentation works, then I would just be getting in the way. So, see if it works. But by then, can I start my session? Bhavika? By then, I'll start my session, right? Yeah. Hi. So, hello, everyone. I must say I am thrilled that the hall is quite packed, and I'm also thrilled that most of you are way over 12 years. Though, yes, that is what I exactly wanted. It so happens that every time they see the cover of my book, they decide that it's a children's book, and I end up having to talk to people who are 8-year-old, which I also do all the time at home, so it doesn't feel any different. But I am glad that this is exactly the audience I intended to speak with. So thank you for making time for this session. My topic, of course, is if every life matters, or if animals could speak. Okay. Now, I thought that before we start this session, I wanted at least a few of you, or any of you, to tell me if you happen to speak to an animal, anytime in the last 48 hours, anytime in the last 2 days. Did any of you talk to any animal? It could be your pet, it could be anything. Talking to yourself doesn't count. Yes, madam over there did. Yes? Wow. Lady, what are you doing? Absolutely. Yes. Absolutely. And I think animals somewhere have an instinct. They know who is safe, they know who is warm, and they guess it maybe much better than we do. Anybody else speak to an animal? Cursing somebody with an animal's name also doesn't count. Only if you've spoken to an animal. Has anybody? Yes? No? No? A hut also doesn't count. Anybody else? No. Okay, fine. So, I personally have not been a pet lover. I do not have a pet of my own. And that would in a way raise a question, why would I want to take this topic if I do not fit into the classic mold of the animal lover who we think is an animal lover all the time, the one who owns a pet cat or a dog or somebody like that. So we will see as the session goes. Uh, for the time being, what I want all of you to do, since I happen to be a fiction writer and I write humor, what I want all of you to do is to visualize one person in your lives. You need not name them. One person in your lives who you can imagine as an animal. I will give you my example. No, don't imagine me as an animal. No. I will give you an example from my life maybe, and or what I have done in one of the pictures. If the pictures play. थोड़ा नहीं pictures होगा. Play हो रहा है. हाँ. So it could be anyone. It could be the principal of your school who is constantly telling you kids these days. It could be that person who is quite old and you probably see them like a tortoise, very slowly walking in the corridors, and you give them a gruffy voice, and the kind of person who will do even for something great which is happening to anyone's life, including their own. So it could be that person. It could be the cashier at your supermarket, who you probably imagine like a mouse, because that person will sit and try to hide behind the counter and will give you a look like this if you wake them up to enter your bill. It could be one of your parents when they are scolding you, and you imagine them as somebody who is roaring. Or probably you are roaring and they are cowering and afraid of you. Any of these. Okay. So, slideshow please. फिर से चला गया? हुआ क्या? अच्छा, okay, fine. So, by the time that comes, so I want you to imagine one person in your life which is like an animal. That person has a distinct voice. That person has a distinct personality. That person has a background of probably having had a bad tea in the morning and hence being cranky for the rest of the day. So I want you to imagine those. And is there anyone who would like to share that with me? The person you have imagined in your heads? Anyone? Anyone who is willing to share with me a person who you have imagined as an animal? No luck? No luck? Piche? No luck. ठीक है. Okay, fine. So, in that case, let us do one thing. I could pass around a few bookmarks, which would have a few animals and which would probably have a name. दो तीन pass करो. And whoever is sitting in the last bench probably can keep them also. Last bench तक जाने देना भाइयों बहनों. एक और pass करो. Yeah, to just give you an idea what kind of an animal you would want to imagine. दो तीन और pass करो, कोई बात नहीं. ले लो. पीछे pass कर दो. Yeah, just randomly थोड़ा पीछे गया ऐसे कुछ distribute कर दो. Okay, और पीछे भी pass करना, just to have an idea what I'm trying to tell you about, and then we will see. Okay, fine. So I came across a book which was titled, Why Do We Love Dogs? Which explains all the pet lovers here. Eat pigs and wear cows. Okay, that was the topic. Why do we love dogs? Eat pigs and wear cows. Okay, why this differentiation in our love for animals? And the book moved me. I was raised in a Gujarati family, which by default means that I am a vegetarian. All Gujaratis by default are vegetarian. And for a greater part of my life, I used to think that I am the most non-violent person on the planet. I do not hurt anybody unintentionally because of my food. Intentional and wanting to kill people is totally fine, and killing humans is fine. I am just talking about animals. Okay? So I used to think that way till I read that book. And I would urge all of you, at least non-fiction lovers who would like to have another perspective, to also check out that book. But so when I was reading it, I realized that all this while, we have been thinking, all the arguments we make about why did God create animals for humans to consume, or if we do not consume animals, then we will be eating more of plants, then there will be a scarcity of food, so we will have to eat animals because we are great people who are trying to restore balance in this universe by eating animals so that the weight of plants doesn't increase. है ना? ये सारी चीजें. So all these kind of arguments just fell apart. There is very scientific basis behind that, and a lot of good speakers, a lot of good books, a lot of good research articles cover that. What I felt was not being covered was somebody who writes about the entertainment aspect of this, somebody who writes about what would our stand be if we were those animals, if we were being cultivated, and the animals we see today, they were the ones who were at the top of the food chain. We humans are currently at the top of the food chain. We are way more smarter. We are able to tame a lion and a tiger and an elephant against whom otherwise physically we would not have a chance. But we are able to tame them because of our intelligence and then have our way with them. So if the tiger had been smart and we had been dumb, if we had remained in our ape-man-like ways and not evolved the way we did, how would the world have been? And that is what prompted me to write this book. The name of the book is The Mildly Chaotic World of Chi Kenny. Chi Kenny happens to be a chicken. Okay, a chicken in every sense. He is a chicken because he is so scared. He is so scared of everything. He wears glasses and he tries to cover his eyes, shut his eyes every time there is anything bad happening in the world because he thinks that that way it doesn't happen at all and he doesn't have to take accountability for it. Something which we all tend to do all the time. Okay, so it is this person who has to ultimately go to war with a few of the other animals because he wants to save us, the humans. Okay? What if we were the ones who were being cultivated for milk, for meat, for our fur? Some of us happen to have great hair. And what if our only attribute was that this person has very great fur and it would make a nice jacket? Okay? So things like that. Now, if those bookmarks have made their way to some people around, is there any inspiration? Yes. And is there any inspiration and would somebody want to imagine one of the people in their lives as an animal and probably tell me about them? It could be very funny. It might not be to the person who we are talking about, but anyway, would anyone want to attempt one? Now. Yes? Please stand and tell me. So that is excellent because this person, you can make an excellent, excellent politician also because you chose somebody who will not, talking about who will not offend, but excellent characterization also. Can you please elaborate? It's great. Please elaborate. Virat Kohli as a leopard, you said? Yes.
Rohit Sharma as a rhinoceros.
Wow, for the brute strength?
Yes.
Yes, and Virat Kohli for his speed? For his speed. Excellent, excellent. Anybody else? Please. Anyone else? No? Please hand over a mic to him.
जैसे बच्चों से रिलेट करके कह सकते हैं जैसे आई हैव अ नीज एट माय होम सो शी इज 4 ईयर ओल्ड सो बच्चों की जैसे मंकी की तरह या रैबिट की तरह साथ में जहाँ जाओ रूम में साथ में आके बैठ जाएगी और वैसे जो भी करो मिमिक करेगी बाल बना रहे हो फ़ोन पे बात करो तो वो भी वो करेगी सो मिमिक करेगी एंड मतलब जो हरकतें रहती है क्यूट एनिमल्स
फॉर द क्यूटनेस यस बिल्कुल ओके एनीवन एल्स वो एक एक्सीलेंट एग्जाम्पल इसलिए भी था बिकॉज सो हियर वी आर इमेजिनिंग अ चाइल्ड एज एन एनिमल ओवर हियर फॉर द क्यूटनेस है ना बट इफ सडनली इफ आई वर टू टेल यू कि रैबिट फर का कोट जो होता है सेल्स फॉर अ लॉट ऑफ मनी इट सडनली साउंड्स वेरी डिस्टर्बिंग टू ऑल ऑफ अस है ना इट ऑल ऑफ अ सडन साउंड्स वेरी डिस्टर्बिंग एंड देन ऑल ऑफ अ सडन द आर्ग्यूमेंट कि in this world animals are for us to consume suddenly is not making sense to us anymore है ना the argument that if we were not to eat animals then how will if everybody is on a plant-based diet then how would the hunger of the world be satisfied? So what do you think these animals eat? All the pigs or all the cattle that is being consumed, they eat other animals? What do they eat? Plants. And in fact, they are fattened up to the level that you would love eating them. They are beefed up to the level that you would love eating them, which is the reason they consume much more plants than, a cow would consume much more plants than a human would. You know? They would also emit a lot more of the greenhouse gases than a human would after eating that. So it so happens that animal husbandry, for whatever reason, especially say for milk, because the demand for milk is so high that the number of animals cultivated for that is too high. So the carbon emissions from the animal husbandry is about 14% of the total carbon emissions in the world, which is way more than the total carbon emission by all the vehicular traffic in the world. So for everybody saying that we will buy a green electric motor vehicle because it causes a lot of carbon emission, maybe it is time to look at your plate. Maybe. You know? The point is, not eating animals or not consuming animal products is not the only solution to every single problem in the world. But maybe it is time to open our minds to the possibility that it may be one of the solutions to a lot many problems in a small percentage. Okay? So hence the title that every life matters. Now, as students, what can you people do? As students, even if you were motivated, and apart from the fact that you might choose to consume less of animals, what else could you do to help animals from your side? Or what else do you already do? Or what else would you want to do from your side? Yes? Anyone? Just a minute. Yes, you can take my mic. Yes.
I keep water for the birds in every day morning.
That is excellent, and more so in summers. Yes, ma'am. Excellent. So you can keep water bowls for animals, for birds especially, and maybe not hinder their lives with the manja or whatever when you fly kites, at least not the ones which are fed, those Chinese manja which are fed with glass, literally. The ones which cause cutting through of your fingers, which we flash very proudly, and of the throats and slit throats of animals. True. Somebody else wanted to speak here. Did you get a mic?
Give treats to them every day.
Yes. And those treats would be basic food for them. But yes, yes. Extra mic hai kya apne paas?
I offer every day 2 or 4 rotis to cows every day.
That is excellent.
We can give a shelter to them, or during summers or during rainy season, so they can get more shelter, and they can be free from diseases.
Absolutely. You can also maybe have a visit with a veterinary doctor if you happen to see a diseased stray. And if you feel that the stray is not very safe, it is totally okay to directly call and give a call to the vet and have a visit arranged, and not endanger yourselves, but at the same time help a stray. You know? We could, yes, please. Is it on? Bird feed. You keep bird feed. Excellent. So at least Nagpur's birds are in safe hands. A lot of people seem to be helping birds a lot. Yes? We could also probably reduce our overconsumption of, what do they say, fast fashion these days? Fast fashion? कि हर सीजन में एक नया कुछ लेना है, and उन्हें ये तो लेदर का ही मस्त लगता है, उसका ही अलग स्टाइल होता है, and the like. Maybe we could do that. Maybe we could help with, and also what happens is when we think of not harming animals as much or not consuming animal products, all of a sudden there is a lot of activism and all of a sudden it is all or none. Oh, you don't eat that, but you eat this, then how are you helping? No dear, you're helping in every single way. If you decide to not consume one particular thing, you're still helping some animal over there. Even if you're consuming something else for the time being, which you may decide to give up later, you may not give up later. है ना? So even a small step will help. For example, we have a tendency of putting cheese in everything, right? And it has like gone to ridiculous levels, from putting cheese on your dosa to putting cheese in kaju katli also. It has gone to ridiculous levels, right? So one cube of cheese, or one block of cheese rather, would take roughly about 4 liters of milk. Okay, so if you just decide to give up one product, which is also healthy for you to give up, it might actually be making a much larger impact than what you think. Okay, and it's still, the argument still holds that I am doing something. Even if I am going to have an ice cream, I am still helping. For everybody who tries to ride you down, you are still helping. And every time you decide to be a little kinder to any animal, and we will extend it to humans also sometimes, it is still something which you are doing for everyone. If you stand up to somebody being bullied, whether it's in your class, whether it's on the roads, if somebody is honking and trying to bully somebody, or if it is some animal which is being bullied by some human, and if you stand up for them, you are still making a huge impact. More importantly, whether it helps the animal or not, how is it that it would help us? How is it that helping or being kind to animals would help us? Any guesses? How being kind in everyday life, I'm not talking about the policymakers, I'm talking about being kind in everyday life. How would it help us? Okay, so studies have proven, and you can go back and read them, or you can come and meet me and I can share them, which say that every time you practice empathy with related to animals, you become an empathetic human in your normal life also. Conversely, and more importantly, if you are cruel to animals, every time you decide to pelt stones at a dog, or harass a cat or a cow anywhere, you tend to cause a feedback loop in your head, which will cause you to become more cruel and which will make you hesitate a lot less when torturing a human also. Every known psychopath who has murdered and tortured, mass murdered, or serial killed a lot of humans, turns out in their childhood have invariably tortured animals. Strangling a pet, burying some rabbit alive, and so on. Skinned an animal alive, and so on. And every time you think, no, we don't do all of those things, I urge you to kindly go back and look at a few documentaries which are available for public consumption on YouTube and all other sources, which will show that every time, all these dairies where we consume, the ones which package milk as the healthy milk, the A2 milk, this milk, the milk which will make you into Einstein, the milk which will make your bones so strong that you will be able to bang a door open, and everything else. Every one of these will also invariably have connections with slaughterhouses. It has to be there because we consume milk in such high quantities and no cow produces milk at this rate. So there have to be a proportionate number of cows. I'll just give you an example. Roughly 8.8 million cattle, if you consider one cow, one buffalo, one pig as cattle, 8.8 million cattle were killed in slaughterhouses, in 1 year, I believe in 2022. For a perspective, 6 million Jews died in gas chambers. The ones we talk about all the time, 6 million died, 8.8 million die every year. Just to put things in perspective. And it is because we are fueling our demand for milk, for ice cream, for whatever. So, when you decide to go back from the class, I do not expect any of you to have made a drastic life choice, But I do expect that every time you consume something, maybe something will sting at the back of your mind, and maybe you would want to review it once. Yes? Finally, we do have a chicken which just hatched after a very, very difficult delivery. It was in labor for the past 30-35 minutes and it has finally been delivered. Chalo, next slide kar do aap. Kar do, next kar do. Abhi hum thoda bhagenge. How much time do we have? Bhavika, how much time do we have? 10, 15 minutes. Done, okay. So, yes, I just brought this up to help you imagine how every life might matter. These happen to be characters in my book, yes, but I will tell you their names, I will tell you their backstories, but what I want you people to do is make backstories up for a few people in your lives and see if you all of a sudden empathize with animals a lot more. So the first one is called Dogma, okay? Dogma believes in all dogmas. Dogmas in English mean a fixed, rigid kind of thinking. So Dogma believes in that. She believes, नहीं, मेरी नानी ने मुझे जो mince meat pie का recipe दिया है, जो butter chicken का recipe दिया है, वो ही best है. और वो तो बनना ही चाहिए. So that is Dogma, who also happens to be a millionaire and who donates a lot to pharmaceuticals and to charities. And to charities which help with raising dogs and helping stray dogs and everything. But Dogma continues to eat otherwise. There's a porcupine over there who happens to be a vegan activist and who sneaks into slaughterhouses and secretly in the night cuts away those the animals which are suffering in slaughterhouses, kills those animals, okay, in a distorted way of thinking that euthanasia will help. Probably it does. So that is an animal over there. This chotu animal over here is called a combat. Combat has been a war veteran and he has fought in a guerrilla war and has had a change of mind because Combat lived in the forest for a long time with his army fellows. And it so happened that they consumed, so in this world, humans are consumed. Humans are part of the food chain. Okay, humans are consumed for everything from meat to milk to everything. So in this world, this one happened to consume an exotic human, which is available, the exotic animals which are imported and eaten. So this one consumed that and the entire army died because of poisoning, which also happens in humans, by the way. Eating exotic animals with their exotic diseases does cause that. This is called the Dalai Lama. The Dalai Lama, it's a lama. That is Dr. Elephant, is a veterinary doctor. We will rush through it. And this is the scene in the slaughterhouse. So you have a Mr. Buffalo, who is probably the one clerk who sits in every office and kya karne ka hai, nahi hoga, aaj nahi hoga, kal aao, lunch time ho gaya type of a person. There is, this is called pig beer belly, the one who slaughters these animals. There is a bulldozer who happens to be a very ethical and vegan bodybuilder. And this lady over here is called So Sweet. So pigs, the female of pigs is So. So she's so sweet. And then there are zebras who all look the same and they think that they are workers in the slaughterhouse and they think that the slaughterhouse cares about them, but obviously doesn't. Next slide. And then these are these humans who are being cultivated. These are the industrialists who are running the dairies, the leather industries, also the pharmaceutical agencies, also huge hospitals. And these are the ones who first initially give cancer to those humans and then test cancer drugs on those humans and the like. These are called Adam, Eve, and Apple. And this one, I was specifically interested for this crowd. This happens to be a rapper. He is called Bo No Bo. And if any of you, and I am actively looking out for it, if any of you is into rap songs and would love to compose one, there are 4 in this book, but if you would like to compose one, please get in touch with me about this. Okay, so yeah, this is the book I was talking about, and you can check it out. I believe it is also available here. And if you happen to read it, and if it happens to give you any kind of doubts, please come to me. But more importantly, more important than the book, if you were to take some message home today, maybe it is to accept that there can be a different way of thinking and to maybe look it up, read for yourselves, and for once maybe scroll and find something which will be useful and which you will be able to watch and maybe change your minds about. And if I were to pick up, I don't know if I'll get a raise of hands for this, but okay, fine. Let's just put it this way. If you were to go back and check out this book, if not for the message, check it out if you are interested in reading puns, if you are interested in reading humor, if you are interested in reading satire, then check out the book. But if you don't check out the book, at least go back and once watch what happens in the dairy industry end to end, from when an animal is born to when that animal suddenly disappears from the dairy industry. Okay? Go back and check that out at least to know what kind of things could be happening and why other lives would matter. Yeah? Thank you.
Curious and compassionate audience. Round of applause for Dr. Khushboo, ma'am.